Welcome.
You ever been on stage before? You know how mics work?
Welcome.
Thanks, dude.
Well, it depends on what microphone you're using.
Pod mic.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with pod mic.
Well, you are now. Okay, now, I don't know how to start these things.
Is this the first one?
Technically, but it won't be the first one.
Yeah.
It's the power
so we
of
can't
editing.
talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we probably can't even talk about current things because I don't know when this is going to come out. I don't know. I'm tempted to do this first, but at the same time, I kind of want to like hit it with a bang.
Makes sense.
But also, who cares?
It really makes sense to hit it with a bang if you can.
Yeah.
That's like best case scenario.
Yeah, but we'll see. Anyway, how you been, dude?
I've been pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been pretty good. This month has been a weird one. It's like 3 Octobers in a row where the first couple of weeks of October has been super emotional.
Right. Yeah, okay.
And
How so?
I don't know. It's like, it's something different every year, but it's like every October, this time of the year, it feels like
Spooky.
something comes up,
Yeah, okay.
you know, and it feels like I'm going through a lot of change and going through different versions of myself and stuff. But today, I feel very good.
Nice.
Yeah. I think coming off of the back of a lot of partying, now I've been gymming in sauna and all
Yeah.
stuff, I'm back to being regulated again, which is...
I've found that as well. I had like a phase probably early September where I was just going out to indie bar and mojos all the time and just getting drunk every weekend.
Yeah.
And then it caught up and was like, no.
Yeah. Oh, right.
You couldn't have all those highs without feeling this low.
Yeah. The consequences of my actions come back again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really difficult to find that balance, especially as someone who works in the industry, like you, being at gigs is part of your job.
That's the killer part of it, because I could go to a bar or a shoot or something with zero intention of drinking.
Yeah.
But then a band will be like, oh, sick, thanks for so much for taking photos.
Here's the free drink.
Here's the free drink tokens. And you're not going to say no to the free drink tokens.
Well, I love a deal.
Yeah.
It does something for my brain.
Exactly.
I love when I get something for free. It's like, even a good deal, even 50 to 60% off is enough for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a few nightclubs that I work at, and I discovered recently, and it was a Wednesday night, I think. I was at Magnet House, and I discovered that because I was shooting, I get 50% off the drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a $5 pint of Swan Draft.
Yeah. $15, 3 pints.
I'm not going to say no to that.
Yep. I would
be
Well, I would.
Well, yeah.
I can't have beers at the moment. If you give me $5 House Reds, I'll be on that. Fuck, I would love to just
I don't like
a fucking pint.
I don't like reds. I can't do the wine.
Yeah?
No.
I love them, mate.
But I also, weirdly, I couldn't do beer I mean, I think you remember I had that 2-year phase where I just couldn't drink. And now I fucking love a pint.
Yeah. That's really cool, man.
Thanks, dude.
That's freaking awesome.
Hell yeah.
Are we just going to talk about beer for the next hour? So, what do you think, like...
This is now a craft.
Yeah.
Rid.
Yeah, Ridian. We got to get Ridian on, hang on. Oh, no, he quit that job anyway.
Oh, true, yeah.
Rest in peace.
No, but I feel that, though. It has also been a pretty emotional couple. I can't say I'm not pretty switched on with how my last Octobers have been, but I'm feeling something the first few weeks.
I don't know what it is, eh? I remember a couple of years ago, Mum had her 50th, I think, down in Donnelly River, and we were, it was the most beautiful night, you know, and I just remember feeling like I'm surrounded by all these people I love and feeling so isolated and feeling down. And up until that point, everything was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's strange how that can just hit out of nowhere.
and it's not like the stuff that I was feeling was,
Something you've been burying or...
yeah, not necessarily burying, but it's not like it just appeared out of nowhere either.
Yeah.
The stuff that I was feeling came to fruition in that moment, but it feels like it had been building for a while. But it's interesting that there are seemingly pivotal moments or times where these things will just open up and you just have to feel them now.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, 3 Octobers in a row, that these big things have come up.
That's something you're quite good at, though, is just realizing I've got to feel this. I've got to work out, not necessarily work out what it is, but sit with it and
Yeah.
absorb it and not run away from it,
Yeah.
because it's quite easy to do that.
I think I'm still a bit of a beginner when it comes to allowing myself to feel stuff. I think blokes in general usually have a harder time with that, but I feel like a lot of the time, if I have things going on, I will gym hard, sauna hard, ice bath hard.
Yeah.
I'll look after myself. I'll
Yeah.
get lots of sleep, and I'll do everything but feel it. And I'll
Yeah.
have like maxed out dopamine, maxed out serotonin. I'll be doing lovely things for people.
I'm doing all the right things.
Yeah, and I'm doing all the right things. And in reality, like the only thing that will actually set me free from that trajectory is to just feel and talk and open up about it.
Yeah.
That being said, if I just open up about stuff and just feel it, that's not effective for me. I need to be taking action.
It's like an
as
LU.
well.
You need to set yourself up to be able to...
How are you?
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, it's not.
You can't just... you've got to both work together.
Yeah, totally.
You've got to be doing those things and feeling it. You can't just do those things and expect to be better and then also just feel it without doing those things,
Yeah,
because you're just going to have this weight and heaviness on you, and it's going to restrict you from being able to actually feel it or take action on whatever you're going through.
yeah,
It's much like, and we've spoken about it before, with my Dexy use. You know, at first I would just thought, this little pill's going to fucking solve all my problems. And
well, for the first month it does.
yeah. Oh boy, how I was wrong.
Yeah,
That sent me into a very dark spiral. And
Yeah.
then I tried to do it without Dexies. And sure, I was healthy and feeling good, but I wasn't getting anything fucking done.
yeah,
But now I do them both together and it's feels like I'm unstoppable.
Yeah.
Because I still feel healthy.
yeah,
And I've got this mental switch that's being turned on in the brain, but the body is just as powerful as well on its own. And you kind of, you just need those two things to...
you've got to reach that balance.
Yeah,
somehow.
absolutely.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me get out of my head the importance of balance. For the longest time, I've been hyperfixated on that as the answer to my problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even, I guess, the equals project is kind of the embodiment of that and the manifestation of that. I've been hyperfixated on that theory forever.
Yeah.
Because it just seems to be that whether it's social, political, economical problems, personal problems, if you apply, well, try and find the balance to most of these issues, a solution will usually come.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that the answer very rarely, if not ever, lies in the black and whites. It's always in the shades of grey and everything in between. Yeah, you got to find the balance.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. We'll go back to the equals equals. Why we're here, of course.
Yeah, nice shirt.
Thank you. That was an accident, to be honest. I just grabbed a white shirt. I was like, I want a white shirt today, and I put it on. I went, yes.
Yeah. Good. Well, if it's organic, it's not on the nose.
Yeah. We probably should have started it this way, but I think most people that are going to listen to this know who you are anyway. But give a little backstory on yourself. I'd go back to the start, really, of your musical career and up until sort of now, and then we'll dive into the equals equals stuff a bit more in depth.
Okay. So I've been writing, playing guitar, playing music. Probably I started learning guitar when I was about 14, 15. Definitely around the time where I started to be interested in women. And like many young guys, I started learning guitar because I thought it would make me more attractive. Well, that's not entirely true. I had this realization well, it's not entirely true. It's definitely, there's some truth in it for sure. Almost everything I do is to be more attractive, which is a shame. And it's something I'm working on. Anyhow, the reality is that I felt like I wasn't a creative person for pretty much my entire life up until 15, 16. And I started, because I could never draw.
Yeah.
I can't draw. Visual arts to me are so foreign and just crazy that people can visualize something and draw. It's just nuts.
It's funny that you say that because I could draw. And obviously picked up a camera and I was doing photos and stuff. And I had instruments and I would play them every now and then. But obviously the pure focus wasn't at them. But I didn't feel like I was a creative person because I couldn't play instruments.
That's so funny.
But then I'd sit down and draw a picture, but I didn't think I was creative. I thought I was just copying what I saw.
Yeah.
I just thought I was.
Well, I can't even do that.
Yeah. And because it was natural, it just felt easy. There was nothing that was like, oh yeah, you're really good at this. It was like, no, I can just see that picture and I can put it on this page and that's it. There's no creativity about that.
And you're watching all these people play cover songs and you're like, wow, now that's creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're doing the same thing. It's just a different way of doing it. Yeah. So I was thinking I wasn't creative. Kind of, Dad had a guitar in the house and one day I was just like, well, I want to see if I can learn how to play guitar, and he taught me some chords. And so for a long time I was primarily a guitarist, and I basically started writing my own songs right away. Writing music felt very easy for me.
Yep.
Not in terms of writing anything good, but I always felt compelled to write music. I moved to Mandurah when I was about 18, 19, started going to open mic nights, playing some cover songs, and me and my best mate Dill, we went down to open mic nights all the time together, and we used to be, I reckon we'd be out in Mandurah at the open mic nights every single week, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We were little fucking Mandurah rats. It was so funny, and so bad for my health and body and mind. But we
18.
formed, exactly. We formed our ability to perform in those days and really honed our skills. And it's always been something I've desired to do. It feels good. Performing is amazing to me. And I, quite frankly, love the attention. I love how it makes me feel. It's always felt very easy for me to be on stage and to chat, and to be in the limelight is something that I want.
Yeah.
And so we were bumming around at open mic nights most weeks. I met a guy called Chris Kinner. He was playing in this band called Indigo, who lost their bass player, and he contacted me and Dill at the same time saying, hey, do you want to play bass for Indigo? And Dylan was like, oh, let me think about it. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Sick.
And so I was playing bass for Indigo for a few months, and we had one gig and jammed a bit, and I basically said to Chris, look, I can't play bass guitar. Like,
I was going to ask, were you a bass guitarist before that, or you just...
No, he asked, and I basically said to him, I can't play bass, never have, never intended to, but I can give it a crack. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. You'll pick it up. It's not that hard. It took me a while before. I reckon it took me, realistically, 3 or 4 years before I kind of got it.
Yeah.
I was just playing guitar on a bass for a long time.
I was going to say, were you just playing it, not understanding it for the first... Yeah.
And to be fair, like, that should have been much faster.
Yep.
I think when I reflect on my time in that band and the lack of success that band had, we were reasonably successful. We had a good following. But I think that we could have gone much further. Not that that's important, but
Chris's voice is just...
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He's phenomenal.
And you guys did have... I wouldn't say there was a massive drive for success, but you guys had something special there. You could see it.
We had a following.
You had a following. You had some good
loyal
gigs,
fans, and
some good gigs that sort of came your way, and some great songs.
Yeah, we sold out like 5 shows in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, and all like just doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a really good time. I was in that band for like 6 or 7 years. And that was a big part of how I became what I would call an actual musician, you know?
Yeah.
Being in a band really teaches you a lot that being a solo musician can't.
Yep.
And like I said, it took me a long time to actually pick up the bass. I think my lack of ability really affected that band.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't think I've really taken accountability for that because I just didn't practice.
Yeah.
I put my heart and soul and creativity into that project and energy into that project, but I never practiced how to get better at bass.
Yeah.
And I actually do regret that. To be fair, I was studying Cairo at the time, so I didn't actually have any space in my brain
to sit down for a couple hours a day or even a few hours a week to just hone in on that because you're
full
at university.
I was fucking full,
absolutely.
Man. Like,
and on top of that,
hard.
You were young.
Yeah.
So you've got parties and going out and doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If you were...
I was an every weekend guy, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Pretty consistently from like 18 to 25.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just getting absolutely obliterated every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So consistently. I can't believe I did that, eh?
I can't do that. I look back at it and I'm like,
fuck me, man.
We went hard.
If you just had a few
solid
years off.
Yeah.
God, what I would have been able to achieve.
Oh, yeah. That was a crazy time, really.
All the growth that I missed out on because I was too busy just getting fucked up.
But we had fun.
We did. Yeah. So yeah, I got to really figure out the muso thing through that band, and it was really COVID that kind of killed that band. We lost a lot of momentum during that time, and a lot of life stuff happened at that time as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
For some of the band members. And so, yeah, we lost a lot of momentum doing that during that period of time. And when that happened, we kind of just separated and got really distant, you know? So we haven't officially like broken up or anything. And
because you guys played a show last year?
I think it was the year before. It's like around Christmas time when Stem had one of their first shows. And we, I think, will have a farewell show at some stage. Which we're kind of planning behind the scenes. I don't know when or where or how, but it's nice that that's happening.
Yeah.
When that project ended, it was kind of serendipitous as well, because I just started playing bass for Stem Steller.
Yeah.
And Dylan, who played in Indigo with me, he joined maybe 6 months after as a guitarist. So I've been playing music with him for years.
Yeah.
And so when his brother-in-law Bevan said, I want to turn Stem Steller into a band and I want you guys to be in it, I was so fucking excited.
Yeah, I would say that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, because Indigo was, slowly fading, and it felt like it made a lot of sense to start that. And I really had a lot more confidence in myself as a musician, and I loved Bevan's songwriting.
Yeah.
He had a couple of songs out. That Criminal song was out already. And I was like, yeah, let's absolutely do it. So, yeah, playing bass, I guess, has been my introduction into the scene, mainly. But I've always been primarily, in my heart, a songwriter, rather than a bass player.
Yeah. I suppose those lessons from Indigo as well, as much as you regret it, they kind of had to happen. Because there's you can't grow unless you make mistakes or anything like that. So those sort of had to happen for you to be able to make that transition into the next phase.
Yeah.
As much as it would have been nice to see Indigo thrive, and it's not all on you, it's sort of a collective thing, and
Totally.
all these different things happen that restricted the growth of that band. But yeah, I think those things kind of have to happen for you to evolve to the next level, and luckily for you, you've got the ability to reflect back on that and go, shit, I fucked that up.
Yeah.
Or I could have done better here.
Yeah.
I've got this now. I want this to work. We all want this to work. This is what I've got to do.
Yeah.
And that's something I've noticed with you as well, is you absolutely, you've got that drive, and you put in the practice now. Like, I'll come over and you're just sitting there and you'll be playing the bass for like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah. I think something that really helped me with the drive to practice more was my family friend, Vicky Turner. She gave me this book and told me to read it one day. And what was the book called? I can't remember what the book was called, but essentially the main theme of the book is that passion won't take you anywhere.
Yeah.
Passion, I had this idea in my head that my passion and my taste and my natural abilities, if I was just passionate enough about music, that it would take me where I want to go.
Yeah.
And this book said mainly, no, passion is a good thing to start the momentum, but if you want to go anywhere, you've got to fucking get good.
It's not this one. Hang on, I'll be one sec.
Yeah, okay. No.
Did you just do a little trick?
I was trying to. The War of Art.
This is a good one.
Yeah, right. I'll have to give it a crack, eh? Yeah. No, not this one.
This one is really good. This is sort of a... Just for a sec. Yeah, this is a good one. This the easiest way to describe it is, this part of the book says, this is why you're a piece of shit. And then this part of the book says, this is how you stop being a piece of shit, and this is how you start being a professional.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
And I don't read.
Yep.
I collect books. I have numerous leather-bound books. I've got so many books that but I cherry pick the parts that I want or need. I
think that's how most books go anyway.
I read like 100 pages of this book in a day, but they're also like
in a
pages.
day.
Yeah,
You slammed it.
the pages are like
Cheat pages.
this
Hell
is
yeah, dude.
built for people with ADHD.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Just half.
I get about that amount in. I get one paragraph in, and then I'm like,
But it's cool. It's kind of cool in that sense that like you can sort of read that little bit, but then you can sit and think on it and you go, oh,
yeah,
I do that.
yeah.
I can see that in myself. Very confronting. That first part of the book is like really confronting.
yeah,
And then after that, it's just kind of like, it just sets you in this mindset of like, would a professional do this? Would a professional complain? Would a professional sit there and feel resistance and be like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to do this? No, a professional will just get it done.
yeah.
And it's sick. I'll lend it to you when I'm done.
Yeah,
with it.
thanks.
It's really
I'd love to read it. Yeah, this book basically helped me realize that actually I just need to get good.
Yeah.
I need to get skills. And particularly starting off the project with Stem Steller, Bevan has a really good taste for jazz-influenced bass parts.
Yeah.
And interesting timings for the bass parts.
So that kind of forced you to evolve.
Well, totally. I just realized that if I'm going to be a part of this band, I need to get better.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to hold this band back too.
Yeah,
I
because
don't want to do that.
Bev is good.
Yeah.
Like his, again, amazing voice.
He's a genius.
Beautiful songwriting.
Yeah.
Like it's really good. And
Yeah.
I can understand that having to sort of reach that next level. And
Totally.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't necessarily think he's a genius, but there are people that have access to genius.
Yeah.
For example, I think someone like Tom York, Radiohead guy, he's like an actual genius.
Yeah,
You know? But Bevan for sure has like genuine access to genius.
Yeah.
And I do too, but, and so do you. But yeah, I'm fully inspired by his songwriting and the way that he views music and the way that he views art.
Yeah.
And so coming into this project, it actually felt pretty scary
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine.
because I just wasn't good enough. And I just thought, wow, I got to get to work. So, yeah, I bought a subscription to Scott's bass lessons online, and that's pretty good. I can actually recommend that.
Yeah. I've done a few of them and it's really easy.
top tier.
Like, yeah, it's
good. I would recommend that over going to see someone to teach you bass.
Yeah.
You just get access to more for cheaper.
yeah.
It's way better.
Yeah. And then you've got it.
And you can do it whenever.
Yeah.
Whenever.
And you can go back and reflect on it.
Yeah.
And not waste a
I'm
half a
not
lesson
going
going.
mega music for an hour session, bro. That sucks.
Yeah. And then you go the next week and you go, hey, what was that thing I learned last week? Can we
yeah.
go over that again for half an hour?
Yeah, totally. Not knocking music teachers. It's good for
but
people, but
And
yeah,
some
for me,
people learn better
in person.
in person, absolutely.
But for me,
Yeah.
it worked really well, and where we're at with STEM at the moment is really inspiring. We are super proud of what we've done already, and yeah, I for the first time over the last year, I finally feel confident in my abilities as a bass player. I'm not the most technical, but yeah, I think I feel like I add a lot of value in that project, and most of the time in the other projects that I've been in, I haven't felt like I'm adding a lot of value. I feel like, well, adding a lot of value outside of my personality and what I bring to the relationships. I've always felt like I added value in that way, but I feel like my taste and my art actually, I add value to that project now, which is, it's really comforting.
Yeah.
And also makes me feel even more excited to improve and get better, because I think that the project Stem Steller has a really high ceiling. We all really believe that, and we believe that that we are going to achieve big things, whatever that is for us.
And that's important as well, is having that. And I've noticed it with you guys. You all have bought in. You've all got that belief. You've all got that drive. And you all have something special where when you witness all of you in a room together, whether you're recording or just hanging out or whatever, you guys are all in with each other.
Yeah.
And it's a very special bond that you have.
Yeah.
There's no divide in the group or anything like that.
No.
It's a very special.
I think it's
And you're
almost the
all
most
so
important thing.
uniquely talented in your own ways
Yeah.
as well, which is just unreal to witness.
Yep.
Like you said before, I think you all are on the same level
Yeah.
of skill.
Yeah, just different strengths in different areas. And,
Absolutely,
well, that's
yeah.
what you want in a team anyway.
And it works well. And I've noticed this when you guys were recording, you know, Corbin could be laying something down and you'll come in and offer some advice, or you'll be laying something down and, you know, Bev will come in and offer some advice. You all
have
give
these
to each.
what if
It's not
questions.
Yeah, it's not just I play the bass, so I'm doing the bass.
Totally. Such a big part of the process for us is the agreement
Yeah.
that we leave the ego at the door. You know, when you're in the studio, such a common barrier for young bands and bands that are trying to do this art thing is you let ego get in the way of getting the right parts. You know?
Yep.
The right parts have to be the priority. Doesn't matter whether it's you that came up with the idea or them that came up with the idea. And it truly just feels, it feels lucky
Yeah.
to have a group of guys like Stem Steller where that actually hasn't really come up at all.
Yeah.
The leaving the ego at the door thing has been really easy, pretty much from the get-go. We've never had any problems with that, and it truly feels very collaborative in that way. And that's the only way that I want my projects to be. You know, having conflicts and ego battles, that is not the way to make art.
No, not at all. No, it's cool. Yeah, I can see you guys. I can see that special bond, and I can see you guys taking it to the next level soon.
Yeah, I think so. We've got some.
I mean, the music,
some stuff.
Yeah, the songs, they
love it.
just get better and better every time you hear. And you're one of those special bands as well, where you can put it on the speakers and go, "Damn, this is good." But then you go there live, and you hear it, and you go, "Fuck, this is good."
I'm glad that it translates live.
It's
important to us that
and
it
there's
does.
a lot of people that I've spoken to that say the same thing. They're like, "Yeah, I heard them. They're pretty sweet, but then I went to their gig and I saw them and I was blown away."
Yeah,
You know, especially at the indie bar, 'cause that sound is just.
it's awesome. Well, the sound guy there is just an absolute legend.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Do you know they removed the poles?
Which poles? What, at the front?
Yeah,
Did they?
They're gone.
That's so good for me,
Yeah.
because that's where I stand.
There's no pole on stage or on the dance floor anymore.
Genius, actually.
It's
oh,
It's just a big open.
because it's
room
just
now.
awkward.
Yeah.
For the people that are standing in front of the pole as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah. I went the other
Excited
week.
for
and
that.
I think it was like one of the first gigs they'd done without it, and those.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, like walking around like people and watching bands and stuff, and you're like, "How good's not having poles?" And they're just like, "Oh, whoa."
Yeah, you don't notice the lack of something until it's pointed out to you. Sometimes, eh?
Yeah.
That's great, because
Yeah.
me or Corbs either have to stand on the left there,
know,
and you
it's-
kind of have to like
always so
say hello to the people around the pole.
Especially for me trying to get a photo of the room,
Oh yeah, and trying to get everyone in the shot.
and there's just a pole. just in the
Yeah,
middle of the shot.
not a good look.
Yeah, so it's great that it's open now. It looks good.
Yeah, indie bar's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, I think planning your parts and planning how you write a song based around can we do that live
Yes.
is a big
Yeah.
part of our process as well. Because it can be really tempting to use an interesting instrument or interesting sounds, and if you don't have the capacity to do that live,
What's the point?
don't do it. I don't. Well, there's obviously two schools of thought with that, because some people might want strings on their songs, and you're not always going to have a fucking string quartet behind you.
No. If you've
you
got
have
the
to-
ability for someone to fire it off as a backing track or something, then
Well, that's the thing. Having Dylan do the synth and also the samples really unlocks that for us.
Yeah.
And that's why we did it that way.
Yeah.
Even though having 5 members is significantly harder than having 4.
Yeah.
Basically, the more members you have in the band, the more difficult it is to jam, the more difficult it is to tour, the more difficult it is to book shows. But it just makes sense to have things how they are.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
being able to have all of our sounds, not leaving anything out
Yeah.
of the recorded track and having everything in a live, that's a part of our vision for this project. Is we want it to sound the same,
Yep.
if not better and more
Yep.
dynamic and more expressive live.
And the thing I love about it as well is I think I don't know how, maybe it's 6 to 8 months old or whatever, but Dill jumping on a guitar as well
Yeah.
and just having a wall of guitars coming at you. It's
3
just
guitars, so audacious, eh?
so
Because and it's been really good for Dill as well, because he has a very distinctive atmospheric style with his lead guitar playing.
Yep.
And it has often felt like he hasn't been able to use that to its full
yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
Because as a lead guitarist, what people expect and what people want is to just solo,
Yeah. Yeah.
And he doesn't like it.
No.
He doesn't like the way it sounds. He doesn't like the way it feels. It doesn't feel good for him playing it like that. So for him to be able to play guitar and for his natural style to really suit adding that in somewhere, and it's been awesome. The whole project is just really fun and exciting, and it just feels right. It feels organic, and really excited about the Stem stuff, eh?
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear what comes next.
Oh yeah, I think we just uploaded it last Friday, so we got like 6-7 weeks to the next one.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's which one is it?
We're releasing Electrical Moods.
Yeah.
It might even be out by the time this potty is out. It depends on the release date, I guess.
Yeah,
But
I've loved that song since the start.
that one's for us.
It's
A jam song.
cool. It's cool. It's just got a very cool sound and swagger. I think you guys said it well. It was like, what would we sound like if we made a spy song?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, we said that in the recording. We were like, what visuals are we getting when we're recording this song? And I think someone said like a top-down car driving on a cliff, like spy vibes,
Yeah.
glasses, hair
Yeah.
in the wind. I think putting visuals and visual themes along music while you're recording it, and recording with those visuals in
Very
mind,
important.
has a big impact on the overall sound in the end.
because you're just
eh?
opening up all the senses.
Yeah.
That way, you're not just listening and shutting your eyes and listening, and
Totally.
you're opening everything up, and yeah, it's because visuals invoke feelings as well, so you're just
Absolutely.
maximizing the feelings that you're feeling.
And it also makes it more fun to record as well.
Yeah, definitely. And then Equals. That's been a very cool project that I've had the privilege of watching evolve over the years. I think I distinctively remember the first time I came over and you went, I got to show you something. And we're in your room, you had the acoustic guitar and you were singing Armadillo. And to be honest, my first reaction was, that's cool.
Yeah.
But God, he sounds like shit.
Yeah.
But I liked everything else about it. And I don't know if I ever told you that, but then the cool thing about that was every few months or so, you'd pull me up there again and you'd play it. and it would get better
Yeah.
and it would improve.
Yep.
And then I remember one day hearing it and going, oh shit,
This is getting actually good
this
now.
is actually really good.
It's not just a lack of shit now.
Yeah. And that's a testament to you. I know you put a lot of effort into your time off work in just music.
Yeah.
And just knuckling down and just learning and improving, and it's paid off because your voice is amazing now. Actually, I don't know if I told you this, but Ben messaged me after the Armadillo release, and he was like, I just listened to Armadillo. He goes, I don't know what it is, but Dave's voice and vocal range is giving me strong Chester Bennington.
What an absolute angel for saying that. Thank you, Ben Shapiro. Actually, Josh has been good friends with Ben Shapiro for a long time, and he shares all of the same political views.
No.
That's so lovely, because that guy is an absolute legend. To be compared to that's like such an honor. And obviously, I don't compare myself to him, though quite a haircut, I have to say.
Maybe that Ben
nice
didn't
style.
actually listen.
He's just like, yeah, he looks
photo.
like him. Oh, yeah. Looks are the same as sound. That makes sense.
Visuals are important.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good callback. Yeah. It's been a long journey with Equals. I first released under Equals when Dylan first started having his studio up at Soak, when it was in the other room, and he just was first doing his own little recordings and releasing some Stem stuff, releasing some other stuff, and we've been trying to do this Equals thing for quite some time.
Yeah.
I think the first release was 2017. I released a song called Dry Your Eyes, and I was really proud of the song at the time, and was up on Spotify for maybe 8 months.
Yep.
And then I was like, I'm deleting it. This sucks. This fucking sucks.
Yeah.
This is not good at all. I had this realization, and I just thought, I'm going to, I do want to do my own project.
Yeah.
It's really important to me to keep doing it. I feel like I have stuff that I want to say. I feel like consistently I have important things to say that I think people would need to hear, maybe want to hear, maybe benefit from hearing. And so it was around the same time that I was reading this book and trying to get better at bass, and I just realized that I'm going to have to just put the work in, eh?
Yeah.
And I started the work more so when Indigo started or stopped playing.
Yep.
And COVID was a really big time for that to start generating themes and generating like kind of an idea of where I wanted to take it.
Yep.
And I think 2022 was probably the time where I really started taking it seriously.
Yeah.
I was, during the COVID times, up until 2021, I think I was doing that locum thing with Cairo where I was working away for a month and I was home for a month and I kept having to home quarantine and all these home quarantinings. I was playing a lot of guitar and but it was really when things started to open up a bit is when I got this job up in Karratha where I'm doing 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And I said to myself, if I'm going to do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off and have 2 weeks at a time at home, this will be a full-time job when I'm home.
Yeah.
And I'm going to Monday to Friday this shit and actually get good.
Yeah.
Because if I want people to listen and if I want to make a difference in people's lives with music that I make and my stories that I want to tell, it has to not suck.
Yeah.
And you just have to get good.
And it's amazing how quickly you can get good when you put that Monday to Friday effort into it as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, for me, I'd spent, I would say, close to 8-9 years working on my photography.
Yep.
And the growth that I've had in the last, what are we now, 8 months is unbelievable compared to the last 8 years,
Totally.
you know, or
Totally.
8 to 10 years. 10 years, actually. Yeah, I was 19 when I started, so 10, 11 years. It's just putting that time in Monday to Friday and going, this is a job. I can't suck at this. I have to be good at this.
Yep.
Hitting it with that mentality, it's just unbelievable. And it's
Exponential.
yeah, and you get so many, and you probably have it as well, but you get people ask like, how did you do this? How did you get here? How did this happen? And it's like, put the time in.
Put the time in.
Like, put as much time as you can possible, you know? And it wasn't happening for me last year. I tried last year and I felt like I was okay and I felt like I was not too bad. But I was working another job Monday to Friday,
Yep.
9 to 5, still doing camera stuff, but exhausting all my creativity into stuff that I didn't like.
Yep.
And then I'd come home and I was just creatively exhausted and I had no time for what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, I guess, the biggest privilege that I have as someone who works away for a couple of weeks at a time, now 1 week at a time, but having 2 weeks off to lock in is the only reason. And I can do that because I'm privileged. You know? I worked hard to get that job and I worked hard to find myself in a situation where that was working. But to be able to do music and put a roof over my head at the same time is a privilege that people don't get.
Yeah.
So, feeling really lucky because you're right, over the last 2 years, I've been really working hard.
Yeah.
I think it was probably halfway through last year. When... Yeah, it would have been around July last year where I really felt that, I feel like I'm at the level now where I think people would want to hear this.
Yeah.
You know, and it had been 3-4 years of playing at home and practicing and researching and trying to expand my awareness of what makes music good and what makes a song good and how to write good bridges and how to get compelling sounds and tones and trying to figure out how to do home demos at my house. I spent all of last year just recording the worst demos. And I would show them to my friends and my girlfriend Rach at the time, and everyone would be like, great, cool, you're doing a good job, Dave, keep going. And they were so lovely. Like, a lot of it was just absolute hot trash, you know. But
I think that's the sound of it. But I think, you know, and I was probably guilty of that as well, but the spirit and the energy,
the essence
of it was still there, and that was the cool thing. And that was the thing where I'm like, oh yeah, this is I like this.
I was developing some sort of thing that was, you can see from the outside in that is art, that there is something there, it's just not good yet. And recording Armadillo last year, towards the end of the year, it felt like this is good. This doesn't suck. I was already working on other music, which is much better. Objectively, Armadillo's a really good song. There's parts of that song that I don't think are good now. But that's a natural part of being an artist. That will always happen. Honestly. Pretty much every song I've ever released has been, wow, that's amazing, I'm really happy with it. You listen to it a month later, you're like, okay, I'm bored, I don't like that anymore. And you just have to surrender to the fact that that is a part of the creative process.
Yeah, absolutely.
So really proud of that song.
Yeah.
And stoked with the response. People seem to like the themes.
Yep.
They seem to, they say that makes them feel seen in some ways. And so stoked with that. Got a whole bunch of new stuff coming out.
And it's different.
Yeah.
It's so different.
I think that's the thing that I'm most proud of with that release and with Equals Equals in general.
Yeah.
Is that most people, when they hear my new demos or when they hear Armadillo, a very common thing is that they go, I don't really know what that sounds like.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people say kind of like Placebo. Some
Yeah.
people are kind of Talking Heads. But for the most part, most people are like, whoa, that's different.
Yeah. Yeah. It stands out.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of bands at the moment who are good at what they do, but they're all doing the same thing.
Totally.
And nothing against them. That's the music they like. But this sounds good. It hits.
Yeah.
It's, and it stands out. It's funky. It's fun. It's confronting. It's,
I think for me, standing out is much more important than it is for other people. I love the idea of it being different.
Yeah.
I want it to be different.
Yeah.
I want, and that's probably, some of that is because of the way that I see art, and I think that it should stand out. And part of that is because probably an ego thing, because I like being different and I like standing out.
Yes.
And I like the attention.
Yeah.
So
I'm a weird guy too.
Yeah, you're a little freak just like me.
Yeah.
So it feels like with that first release that we're on the right trajectory.
Yeah.
And to have a first release that's makes you feel like you're on the right trajectory, that's all you can really hope for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and the Mojo show went unbelievably well as well. I mean, I spoke to a lot of people after that who were just mind blown. There was a roller coaster of emotions the whole way through. It was silly, it was funny, it was happy, it was sad, it was confronting.
Yeah.
But you guys also sounded tight, and that's amazing that was the first headlining show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was I think we'd played we played 3 or 4 shows as a band before, the kind of like practice shows.
Yep.
And that was our first headline show.
Yeah.
And credit to Joey and Mitch and Mob. They're all phenomenal musos.
Oh, Joey, I could watch that man drum forever.
Hottest gunner.
He's
so hot.
And just so good at what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, you all are, but yeah, it was...
Joey's a big part of the creative engine of the Equals Equals machine as well.
Yeah.
Him and I see the world very, very similarly, and I love that I can go deep into the themes with the boys.
Yeah.
Mop and Mitch really meet me halfway there.
Yeah.
And if I'm having these thoughts and these narratives that I want to convey and these deep themes, they're like, oh, cool, yeah, sweet. And they'll just meet me halfway.
Yeah.
And when I'm jamming with Joey, he will often say things that I'm like, oh, whoa, yeah. And he has these like really deep, wise insights on stuff. So, shout out Joey, Yin Yang Chef. He makes the best hummus in the world.
Hummus is so
If you're in
good.
Fremantle, you got to go to see at the South Freo Farmers Markets,
Yep.
Lebanese street food, Yin Yang Chef.
Yep.
The best hummus.
How
you
weird
ever
was the...
Fucking nuts.
do you remember me meeting him?
Yeah.
I just went one week and I was like, oh, this hummus is so good.
Yeah, you told me about it.
And I tell Dave, and you were like, oh, sick. Yeah, I want to try some hummus. And then I go the next week and I'm like, getting some of this hummus. And I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm in a band. I'm like, cool, what band? And he's like, oh, Equals Equals. And I was like,
that's my friend's
that's
band.
my friend Dave. I told him to come down because he's got to try some hummus.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
funny.
that's just another another sign of serendipity that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
we should be creating together. It's
Yeah,
always
absolutely.
felt organic in that way.
Yeah,
Hey? Yeah, so honoured to have these boys a part of the project, to have such a clear vision of what I want to do, and for that vision to be, you know, a little bit out there or a little bit different.
Yeah.
For them to just go full on, yep, let's do this. They're all busy as.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
all have lives, and for them to share their time and energy into something that I'm doing, which is, you know, for me mainly.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to say that it's mainly in service of people. It is in service of people. I do want to share my stories because I think it can help people, but it's for me
Yeah.
mainly.
Yeah.
So that's 70-30, 80-20, you know. And for them to sacrifice so much of their time and energy and spirit into helping me make this thing a reality, it's nuts. It's such an honor. Yeah, so I feel really excited and hopeful about this project and Stem Steller. But the Equals Equals project for me it's legitimately a hyperfixation.
Yeah.
I think about
Yeah.
it all the fucking time.
I can
Can't
see
stop
that,
thinking about it.
and I can understand it because I mean it's my favorite music. I love it.
My guy.
Like I love it. Armadillo lives on repeat. Anytime you send demos or anything, I'm listening to them because, you know, we discussed before. I'm a weird guy. You're a weird guy.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, I don't know what that sounds like. And to me, I'm like, that sounds like every fucking weird artist
That you listen to,
and
yeah.
I love it.
We got such similar
It's just a
tastes.
smashing together of all my favorite artists, and it's
Yeah.
cool. It's very cool, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm pretty hopeful for it. I think it'll do well, and we've got this beautiful connection with it. I think because we both have those similar tastes. Your music kind of inspires the visual side for me so easily. There's been a lot of times where I've struggled with it, and bands will send me songs, or I'll just be cutting a recap video
Yeah.
and I'll be listening to the music and I've got nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, this is just cut and make something. But with your music, it's like fireworks, and I can see the colors and I can see I can see everything so clearly.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
I feel so lucky to have you as we joked about that once before, that you're like a fifth or sixth member, and Dylan's like a fifth or sixth member of the band.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that that's pretty much how a lot of art is.
Yes.
You know, there might be 4 guys up on stage performing.
Yeah. But there's a team behind the scenes.
There often is a team behind
Yeah.
the scenes, whether or not there's people that are actively a part of that, like you are. I'll float ideas to you about stuff, themes that I see or have an idea.
Yep.
And when we're brainstorming, it's just bang, bang,
It's
bang,
natural,
bang,
it's
bang, bang,
easy,
bang.
yeah,
We just
yeah.
find, I find that I work really, really well with you. And I think a lot of that is that I lack the skills, but I have ideas.
Yeah.
And you have ideas as well, but you also have the skills in visual arts
Yeah.
to be able to put ideas into practice.
If someone gives me an idea, it's the greatest thing, because that's the
Yeah.
that's
You just
the
need the
base
building
plate,
blocks, eh?
and I can just go from there.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what you want? Sick. Here's what I would do to that.
Yeah, and it seems pretty lucky because the way that I do, the way that I have ideas about art is that I'll have one simple thing, like take this new Wet Socks thing, for example.
Yep.
Where I have this idea, this Wet Socks song is about shame, and the only image that I have is putting wet socks in a bucket and then getting changed, and then you're carrying around these wet socks for the rest of the thing. But that's all that you need as someone who's going to, you know, do some visual content for this song, is you just need that one little snippet, and I know that we can flesh that out from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. no, I'm excited to be working with what we're doing afterwards, actually.
Yeah.
I'm very keen to be putting together some ideas and building on that, because I think it'll be fun to do. And I don't know, I see working with your band kind of almost like the visual side of it's like a painting, which is cool. Just psychedelic, weird painting.
Yep.
And it's both challenging and exciting for me, because a lot of the stuff I do is just clean, crisp, perfect. Whereas this, you can just go wild and have a lot of fun and experiment. And I think I do my best work when I'm just off the leash.
Totally.
To do that.
Absolutely. The way the good Lord intended.
Yeah.
That's the way the art should be. There are no rules. I mean, I like really polished work. And a lot of my favorite artists are really polished work. But for this project, equals, I've always wanted it to be a snapshot of life in this one little, whether it's this album or whether it's the live show. For now, I love the idea of the body of work or the band in general or the visual stuff to be a little snapshot of fucking everything.
Yeah.
The shame, the pain, the beauty, the love, the color, the darkness. Trying to find a way to merge all of those things in one little snapshot. I find doing it that way is the most creatively inspiring for me, and it's the most fun.
Yeah.
I want my art to be a fun experience, and I want to remove as many boundaries and barriers to that as possible. So I guess like the word like surrender comes to mind when it comes to doing art in equals. I don't want to say no. You know? If someone has an idea and it's wacky or it's different, and the first feeling that comes up is, oh, that's, what will people think about that?
Yeah.
Then the answer quickly needs to be, well, that's why we should do it, to me anyway, you know? With that Armadillo song, with the ad-libs that we had in the song.
Oh, that was...
With, how you going? 2 times, 3 times.
That was, I think I've got the recording of that. That was literally just a thought of the moment. It was like, we should do this. And I was like, yeah, all right, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
And it worked.
It worked
so well.
In that moment, I was like, oh, that works. That's fun. That's silly. We'll probably remove that later. And
I remember you saying that as well. You were like, yeah, it's cool, but it's a bit weird. I'll probably take it out. But I can't imagine that song without it.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
needs it, you know?
Exactly. You've just got to surrender to those things.
And that scream.
Yeah.
I laughed for about 3 weeks every time I heard that scream. Just looking at the video.
Because you were there?
And just, so funny.
That's one of the funnest parts about recording is to
Those little moments.
Have those moments where you're doing something different and it may be someone else's idea or you've reached that idea in some other way, but when you go, yeah, all right, let's try it, and for whatever reason it works, and you just go, whoa, that wasn't... It feels like that, the ad-libs and the scream, that was like meant to be in that, and there's a lot of moments in art that you have to be quite fearless and courageous, and I'm happy that I managed to silence those fears for that song, and I'm going to keep trying to do art fearlessly, because it's the most rewarding way to do it, I think.
I think, and there's definitely a lesson in that where, and going back to what I said before, it's fun working with you and the Equals project because there are no limitations. We can do what we want. It's, if a suggestions come up, run with it, try it. Ideas pop up for a reason.
Yeah.
Whether it may not be the final outcome, but it pops up for a reason, and it could just be a small part of that building block.
Absolutely.
Or it'll
little
inspire the next idea or something like that. You can't block it off. You can't say no to these things. If these ideas are presenting themselves, they're presenting themselves for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about working with Equals. And not saying I don't like working with other bands. I love working with all bands. But a lot of the mentality is, what does this band that we like do? And but this band that we look up to, they wouldn't do that.
Yes.
And then you're just restricting yourself.
Totally.
And that band that you're looking up to and that you're inspiring to be, whether it's visually or musically or whatever, they're not looking at another band going, what would they do?
Yep.
They're doing what the fuck they want.
Exactly.
So just do what the fuck you want. Take inspiration.
Absolutely. But there's a balance there.
Yeah.
You
Take
can
inspiration.
Take little bits and bobs and you can try and make what they did yours in some way.
Yeah.
You know,
but
all
don't
art is
restrict
derivative.
yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't restrict yourself to
Yeah.
that.
You can't pigeonhole yourself into one little box. It has to be free. It has to be fun. It has to be creative. It's the only way to do it right. I think anyway. There's lots of ways to do it right, but it's the only way to do it right for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I hate not being free. I hate it.
Yes, I've noticed that about you. No, it's cool, man. And like I said, I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm very excited to start working on.
Yeah, I've
this stuff.
got some artwork to show you.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good time to wrap it and jump into that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sitting in. It's been fun. It's been good. Always a good chat with you.
Likewise,
And,
dude.
yeah. Looking forward to seeing what Stem Steller and Equals does in the future. I've got high hopes for both projects.
Thanks, man.
And I'm super excited to hear the new music. It's been a while. I mean, it hasn't, but it has.
We got heaps coming.
Yeah,
like
I know.
lots.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Keen for that. It'll be great. Awesome. Oh well, thank you, man.
Thank you. See you, dog.